One of the things I appreciate about living in Zagreb is the amount of wonderful nature that surrounds the city and how accessible it is. Today we're in a place called Dugo Selo, which translates as Long Village. We've come by train. It's about 25 to 30 minutes right from Zagreb Central Station into Dugo Selo. It's where the capital city meets just the wonderful nature around. It's a place now that is a very, very viable place for people to live, and then to commute into town it's a lot cheaper. But also as a place to come out and sample some nature, it's got some quite interesting things to offer. And here we are today in Dugo Selo, having a look around and seeing what you can find in the Long Village, just half an hour by train from the capital, Zagreb. One of the lesser promoted aspects of tourism in Croatia is religious and heritage tourism. This is a very, very Catholic country, and it has a very, very long tradition of religion. And so the oldest part of the town is the 16th century church of St. Martin here behind me. It was originally first mentioned in 1209, so it's assumed that there was a church here before which belonged to the Knights Templar. The church is dedicated to St. Martin of Tours, and as you can see from this map here, there is a whole network of churches dedicated to St. Martin all over Europe, starting in Canterbury in the UK, going into Spain and all across, and there is now a route for the St. Martin of Tours. And Dugo Selo and this church here is the first place on the route here in Croatia. It's a very, very peaceful spot, and as you can see, as you look around, you're on the hilltop and you can see all the plains all around. And what's interesting to me is you have a lot of these houses on the way up, and they are weekend houses for people generally from Zagreb and elsewhere. But now they're starting to turn these into Airbnbs, and so this is a place now that's starting to develop for tourism. You know, people come up here just to get out of the city, to get away for a weekend. It's a very, very peaceful place. Dugo Selo lies in Zagreb County, which is quite famous for its vineyards. And here on Martin Breg, which is this hill where the church is, this was all covered in vineyards. But there's one vineyard here which is actually quite unique. The local people here think it's unique to all of Croatia and perhaps beyond. It's the only vineyard that's actually owned by the city itself. And the grapes are cultivated, white grapes, and there's about 1,000 bottles a year are produced of this city wine, basically. And it's produced by an association called Terra Sancti Martini. One of the things I really like about Dugo Selo is just being out in nature and actually seeing kids not on their phones but actually out there doing activities. We're here at the Dugo Selo pump track. It's actually the biggest pump track in the whole of Croatia, and they have regular visitors from places like Slovenia, Germany and Austria, as well as lots of local people. Behind that there's a new robotics centre that's just been built. Over here they've just bought a piece of land where they're looking to put in swimming facilities as well. It's just that blend of nature, and it feels like it as it used to be. And if you look at the demographics, it's really interesting because everybody talks about the population decline in Croatia, and we've gone from 4.5 million down to 3.88 million. But actually in Dugo Selo, in the 2011 census, we went from a population of 17,000 something to 22,000. Which again is very much against the trend here in Croatia of depopulation, emigration. But even more encouragingly, this has the highest birth rate in the whole of Croatia. And so it's a place that's full of children, it's full of life, they're out in nature. And in 2024, when everybody's on their phones, it's a really, really nice thing to see. So my impressions of Dugo Selo is it's a place that everybody goes through and nobody really stops to think about it. And having been here, the overriding impression I've got is it's a very young place with family-oriented, where the kids are out having fun as they used to 30, 40 years ago when I was young. As somewhere just outside Zagreb, you know, to live with this access to nature, the train goes in every hour or less even, and you're in downtown Zagreb in half an hour. I think it's obviously a lot cheaper than downtown. Once again, this is an example of the perception of a place in Croatia, and when you take a little bit of a look and scratch the surface, you find out that there are actually some quite interesting things happening. This is actually the main meeting point in Dugo Selo. They don't have a main square as such, and so this clock above me is where you're going to meet. So if you're ever going to meet anybody in Dugo Selo, they'll tell you to come underneath this town clock, and this is the place to come. One of the institutions and the things you must do when you come to Dugo Selo is come to the wonderful Slastičarnica Jagode I Čokolada. They actually have their own famous Dugo Selo cake, which I've been trying here, and it's a pear, rakia and poppy seeds, I think is what's inside. And I have to say, it's rather delicious. One of the most popular hangouts, and it combines wonderful nature with wonderful food, is Ciglana. This is an area just outside the town where you have 3 different lakes. They're all taken care of by the local fishing association, who take a very good care of everything. You have a lot of fishermen that come here and enjoying things. The lakes are full of fish. There is legend that there is a catfish which is 90 kilos somewhere in this lake here, and nobody's ever managed to catch it. But it's a great place to hang out, but also then there's really good food. There is a wonderful restaurant called Ribarska Koliba Bunčić, where you can have great fish, but also the local specialities as well. Again, it's one of those natural places, great family hangout. It's good for weddings and christenings, but you come here, and we're here today, and it's full, and it's early April. So this is definitely just outside Zagreb. It's a completely different vibe, and it's well worth checking out. It's been a big surprise to me. The big takeaways I've got is nature, children, outdoor space, and just people enjoying themselves in their natural beauty rather than being on their phones like the rest of us are. And it's got a lot happening in Dugo Selo, and it's going to be an interesting place to watch.